Hello, everyone. I want to do a really quick, just kind of rundown of my stuff because I have an appointment with my podiatrist and I might not be in class today. So, study one. This is actually, I'm going to put in a photograph. I was privileged to go to my cousin's courthouse wedding, and I did shoot it. And it was afterwards I saw this space with this kind of weird indoor lighting, and it was just strange with this payphone. And I pulled the couple in, and I made them pose. Um, so it was very staged, and it was kind of due to lighting, and that's why I've included it in this. Study two was I've got this. I purchased a single gelato, which is from Faber Castell, and it's like water soluble. And I had been inspired by this picture of my parents I had on the wall, and kind of experimented with. Again, I'm trying to go loose and more gestural with everything, so that was what came of this. I was trying to extrapolate on the last one, which I liked the spirals on. Did not like the spirals in this. I feel like this study was kind of meh. This was done with a mixture of sponges and my fingers. It's pan pastels. Then during class, I think I was talking like all that talk about like abstraction and stuff like that. I started visualizing just like simple shapes, which is really not me typically. And so, again, I didn't have access to a lot at that point, just my color pencil. So I was playing with making squares in the small one. And then I was like, I can do this again. Let's play with it again. And so I did the bigger piece here on the right where you've got more concrete, transparent squares, and they get a little bit wilder as they go down. From here, this was I overnight ordered paint pens because I've been watching a lot of paint pen videos, and shout out to Grace, who I looked at her initial submissions. And this was my first ever time using paint pen, so I went really kind of typical for me. And I loved it. It was a fantastic medium for just kind of not worrying about blending, which is my favorite thing, and just get color on there and like play with value. And I enjoyed the medium. And so from there, I used paint pens, and I'm really surprised at how much I love this. This is so outside my comfort zone. It's really not typically what I would do at all. I've never done probably anything like this. But I was going through photos of my mother, and there's like that small photo down at the bottom, and I was like, you know, I was looking for less like looking at the camera and smiling, and this was obviously taken by my father at a moment of vulnerability. And so I was like, I wonder if I can communicate that motherly love with less info. And so I don't know, started picking colors, and I'm just very surprised at how much I really like this. And I feel this is probably the most successful out of all the pieces I did through these exploratory studies. And so I was starting to take the paint pen and again trying to loosen up. I was like, let's, leave a lot of ground showing. Let's get very gestural. And I did this portrait of my father. And I don't, it's very rigid. And I think I kind of lost what I wanted out of it, which was to be more fluid. And I just kind of started hatching, which is a very comfortable motion for me. And I was like, this is not what I wanted. So I did it again with like a random photo. This is I colored pastel ground and painted it on Bristol paper, and then I just took new pastels to kind of hold their shape a little bit better. And I was playing with color and value, and I think there's a bit more expressiveness in this, and so I feel like it's a little bit more successful. This was I sent my husband up into my studio to start grabbing supplies, and these were these really old water soluble oil pastels that I think I had gotten from an old classroom of mine. I hadn't touched in over a decade, and I think they're bad. I think they probably can go bad, and they are bad, and it just did not work out. At least the water solubleness. I tried to add water and I tried blending it. It was just not good. So like I actually like the roughest version of this the best. And then finally, I was just really struggling to come up with my last one. And the paint markers I bought came with like free papers and like kind of swatch sheets and all these things in this envelope, and I was like, oh, this envelope. And so one of the things I want to talk about in my work this quarter is like communication and like the isolation that comes with losing someone you love, and that lack of communication. And so like I did this. I think it's a little heavy handed. I'd like to try something more subtle, but I think it's an interesting idea that I could play with in the future. And then just a quick bonus, I made a wedding dress. I just finished it. That's why these exploratory studies are maybe not as wild as they could be. And I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get wilder. But I've been working on this wedding dress and I finally finished it. My friend is getting married in Hobbiton in New Zealand. Anyway, I just want to share. And yeah, thank you.